I mean, and a portion of them. So, to me know, I mean, me gearing now, and him suggest to me.
That's what the youth need, it's about your renewable energy.
Years ago, I did working with him.
Gary Jackson. I'm a Fulbright Nexus scholar and also Executive Director of CARELEC, which is an association of Caribbean electric utilities companies that facilitate the development of utilities for electricity across the region.
What exactly is happening here today?
Well, we're looking at, under the Fulbright Nexus program, which is a network of applied researchers which are multidisciplinary. We are looking to inform public policy using applied research. This was an initiative that was developed from the Department of State in the United States, looking at renewable energy, sustainable development, innovation, public health, economics. For this particular project, we're looking at a hydro development using the Swift River to generate electricity for the community that is adjacent to the resource. This area that you're seeing here is our proposed Powerhouse area where the generator set will be on the turbines to generate electricity from the water that is coming from upstream. You see that we have two community members here assisting with the clearing of the area just to ascertain if this area is appropriate for the powerhouse. We're having some surveyors coming in to do a top of the area along with trying to see a profile of a penstock or pressure pipe that will basically transfer the water to the powerhouse from a high elevation to generate the electricity. So behind you, we are clearing a path that the penstock will actually be laid. What we're trying to ascertain again is to see the lay of the land, the profile of the land, to see how the penstock would actually be laid on the ground or underground. And one of the important things is that we need to make sure that the project is sustainable. And when I mean sustainable, there are three pillars of sustainable. There's a social, environment, and economic. We have to make sure those three overlaps. Once they're overlapped, we understand that the project is sustainable. So we have to make sure that socially it's approved and it helps the community. Environmentally, we are not taking away from the environment, but complementing the environment. And obviously it needs to be economical. We don't want to overextend ourselves in the project development. So this is what we are trying to achieve for this particular project.
We don't want you to say too much
Yeah.
on this side.
Okay. Yes, yeah, there are some others.
But the terrain to get here was very rugged, yeah.
Yeah, the terrain is extremely challenging, and that's one of the uniqueness about your renewable energy. You have to be very creative in terms of how you're going to harness the resource. I mean, I must say this is our natural gym. When climbing these hills, we sweat a lot. These guys here, they are used to it, so I have to have my rod of correction to stabilize me as I go up these hills. But there are possibilities of harnessing the resource. It might be expensive, but we're going to see how best we can design that based on the complexity of the terrain.
Where exactly are we at? Which district is behind?
Well, it is called Chelsea, but it's not exactly Chelsea, but it's a Swift River area. So far those guys are
This is Mr. Sylvan Bell. He is from Chelsea. Swift River district. We just catch up on him as the rain pours here in the bush as we look for some of the site. We're going to talk to Mr. Sylvan a little bit.
Yeah, Sylvan Bell. Swift River. Yeah. Yeah, me say the program, it should have started a long time. It should have finished by now. It shouldn't wait so long to finish. Because it started from 1972. Right? The amount of block and cement where the helicopter drop up in the geological severe. Me work with them all along as a guide through the area. Through the hoods, because we go deep on this. So the program wall up because of government changing. The program stay and put on. Now that it start again, I think the community needs no say. And a foolishness is something where them people really pay attention to and get it going, because from it going, they more benefit from it. So it don't make no sense them try to say, boy, a foolishness. Because me know, me was working with the Canadian part of it from Canada. Mr. Green was my boss, he's my doctor there, Dr. Carlin. So I mean, and a portion of them. So to me know, and me meet Gary now, and him suggest to me the program when him depend, me mention say, all right, me was one of who was the worker with the portion of man, but he come earlier. Now, me can assist him as much as me can in this, as long as him can do it. So me advise the community, say, well, and really pay attention to it and not make it waste or go away. Because when public service are doing we now, we can't take it. He might give you a pressure where boy not really ready. So if we can get the easier sources from getting light, building energy to get light, make we support it and go along with it. So that me can tell you, that is what me have to say. Because I know about it from years ago. But through it put on and never really go on You know, that's why we reached till this time, we should have done already. We would not publish us a deal with give them problem there right now, because this is energy. So it we want, and thank you.
Saying if the community can actually develop this project and operate it and maintain it, I think that would be a big success for this community. This community is surviving right now on farming. Farming is struggling right now in this community, and I think if they have this additional resource to help to boost their livelihood, I think it would be a major success. And other communities that have some form of sustainability, like energy around them, should consider this as a means for economic development.
Yeah, man.
People, you understand, donkey.
The assistant will come across with them, no problem.
Yeah, if you come across the river.
No problem.
No problem.
Well, drop it right round the sun.
Yeah, drop it to the nearest point.
With ease.
Yeah, man, ease.
No problem.
It's good.
I saw you go, man. I kind of like the arrangement still.
Same.
Yeah, I work with it. I have a moving boat up, one of my cousins said, he says, I'm moving boat up, because I go on a mission where. Now, we go there yesterday. So some shot tell him from last night. I mean, one of them girl man thing, you know, so. You know, really want to run upon it now, like me just take. And me tell him already, he come back from bush already.
See.
And then we then flex, you know. But to me never really show him that. That's why he really, you know. So, well, a man, you know, whether they come and work or not, we have to get to them and then come back.
Right.
A man, you know, right. Still not the mix, man. Give me your name, I don't get your name.
Well, my name is Howard Swire, you know, known as Reality.
Alright,
From this community?
Swire. Yeah, Chelsea.
Alright.
Yeah, retreat, you know.
So what you think about the whole idea?
Well, I think about the whole idea is just natural, you know, oneness, you know. Because years ago I did working with him, the water project here, from in said place where Sylvan talk with Mr. Roper. And now I see the project here continue, so I want to process with it, said we. Thank you.
Yes, I think a critical component of this project is having all the stakeholders work together. I mean, these particular projects have several stakeholders. For example, the Jamaica Public Service Company, the electric utility company, is a main stakeholder. The National Water Commission, main stakeholder. The community, very main and key stakeholder. National Environmental Protection Agency, NEPA, key stakeholder. The local government, the planning agency, key stakeholder. So it is going to be critical for all these persons or entities working close together for the success of this project. So I have already engaged and have discussions with all of them through a telephone or email or face-to-face. So we are hoping that each entity and each person will play their roles for the success of this project. It is a very what's the word I want? It's a very, one of the best thing about this project is because of where it is and the community that it will potentially serve. The people want it, and it would just be useful if everybody could just work together to get it done.
If everybody working due time, what timeline are we looking
at? A project of this nature, from construction, could take up to 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Because as I said to you, I will just describe that to you when we go further upstream, how we believe the project, the proposed construction of the project, what that would entail. So I could tell you that later when I take you further upstream.
What about the funding? How would you apply funding?
Well, that is going to be, I think, through different mechanisms. I'm not sure with the Petro-Caribe fund that is currently in the Jamaican system if that is a possibility. But I believe that we could get funding through different multinationals, multilaterals, sorry. For example, the IDB, the EU. Here, Chinese might have some funding. So we'll have to search. I think once we have packaged the project properly, I think we will be able to get funding. But stop. I am buying into that.
Come on board.
Pick up this here. So the line, the pipeline is basically taking from me and going right back up there. So I was going to look back at the map with you. And then I will see. I think we have a point up here.
So are you on? Alright, I'm on.
Let me get it. No, let me mark. Come on. So our intake is up here. This stream here. So stream here. That's where we are. So that's the stream right there.
Okay.
So where this road here is, we would have walked on it.
Oh, yeah, we just walk on.
Yeah, that's it. It ends right back into the stream.
Okay.
It's a pathway. So basically the intake, Powerhouse is going to be somewhere here. And then shoot right up here to the forward. So this going to take about right here. This one is about this wire. Right. So this is upside down. Right. So let me see if I can pick up the stream.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
Can I have the stream on this? Google. Maybe get this one on. This is a stream here. Should bend this loop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
right. So when you come across now, we're trying to reach somewhere here, but we're going to stay on this side of the river. This is on the other side. We're going to stay on this side where we are now. So you see this patch out here? This is where we are now.
Okay.
So you have a control point over here.
Right.
So right. So we're going to get it. We're going to get. This is where we're sitting now. Is a powerhouse. So we're going to go up to right up to this point here. All right. So.
All right then.
Yeah, man. Over here. So we're going to shoot. We're going to follow it. We're going to have to go around. There we have a little sea here. There will be carrier. So we're going to go around that. And then come back somewhere. We're going to be about here. So that going to. So the intake is going to do something like that. So that's one here. This is one of the 50 by 50.
Okay.
And that's all the 50 by 50. And then the profile of this. So what you're going to have to do, it's not bad terrain in terms of, so the guy's going to clear this area, but because I wasn't sure, I think we'll find this area. I wasn't sure I'd be able to walk through, but they will just need to clear this area for you eventually once we find it, to know that this is it.
Okay.
Now, would you be able to, with your GPS now, find this point? Know that, since you know where your control point is in almost a straight line like that, would you be able to find it in a straight line like that? Not so easy. Okay. All right. So the river is a guide.
Right.
So there's a river there. So the river is a guide. So you'll basically start from, you have that control point and start from here and then go back up.
And then come here.
And then come here. Fine.
And then we move from here to here.
To there. Great.
They want profile along this line.
Yeah, profile along this line.
Yeah.
After it,
So where are you heading to now? Here?
yeah.
Okay.
So So I'm going to show you, we'll go up to the top part and show you where I believe it is.
Okay.
Where I believe it is.
How long is this line? You know? Have I an
It's
idea?
about 500 meters.
Between?
Yeah,
Okay.
about 500 meters.
That's a powerhouse down there.
It's a powerhouse here. This is a 4-bay.
4
So this is like a collection area for the water. And we put the sedimentation traps and everything here. And then the pressure pipe will be attached to here, coming straight down to the powerhouse. So once I know the lay of the land here, because basically what I think would happen to this powerhouse is that it would not necessarily sit on top of this land. It would kind of go below.
Okay.
And then we just shoot the tail race back into the river. Because another university lecturer would actually come.
Okay.
So we have to protect the powerhouse from that.
Right.
And any other thing. So this is a profile of the river. We are standing about right here now. So this is a profile of the river. Our intake is approximately upstream, which is right here. So what we are planning to do, if you look at the area here, it's quite mountainous. So one of the proposed ideas is to tunnel through the mountain to get to this point at the same elevation, so that we have the altitude to run the turbines when we take the water back down. So this canal is not a pressure pipe, it's just directing some of the water to the 4-bay. And once we get it to the 4-bay, we have a pressure pipe that is going to be channeled now to the powerhouse to turn the turbine to generate electricity.
That is where we're standing now.
And we are standing at the powerhouse location now. So this has a track right up to this point. After this point, you have to go into a little meadow. Here you have like a little cow pasture. Be very wary of tick. They attack ferociously. And then my wife has really prepared me for this one, because the last time I didn't come back out too well. Yeah, they really attacked me. So once you get here, you have one or two choices. You could come down here and cross the river here to get on this side to the intake, or you try to tread. Trying to tread around here is going to be treacherous, so the easiest thing to do is really come across the river at this point to get to here. That's the way we have taken in the past. Yesterday was not possible because the waters came down very much, so the water was not clear at all. So we couldn't actually see as you normally could.
You are the likelihood of flooding, now that impact on the powerhouse that you're looking at?
Yeah, well, right now we're doing a hydrology model to look at flood scenarios in 100, 500 years span. So we are actually working on that now to see what are some of the possibilities, and that is what is going to assist us in designing the project. So while I am saying that the powerhouse is going to be here, there's still other information to help to inform the design of the project. So we are not there yet. But this is a potential location because obviously the altitude that we're working with, and obviously where we believe our best discharge would be given that altitude when we do the energy calculation. So outside of that now, we need to make sure that we have a couple of things that need to inform the project. As you mentioned, flood. Flood is one. Seismic activities in the area. So we need to know that we're not going to have any major tremors or earthquakes, or we have to make sure that the soil, we have fault lines, so we have to make sure that whatever excavation or boring of tunnels that we do, it's not an unstable environment that we can do it. So we are getting some support from the earthquake unit, from the geology department, or from the University of the West Indies, I should say. So that is another bit. Environment, we have an environmentalist working with us. So she's actually looking at the area to see that we, obviously the flora, the fauna, which is the animal life and the vegetation, that we don't damage that too much, that can actually complement. So these are different stakeholders or expertise that we have to depend on to inform the process so that we can properly design the system.
My name is Keaton Martin. I assist the surveyor, my professional land surveying technician. So I assist the surveyor. All right. Keaton Martin. Right.
Not this bottom one. See another one up more.
We can run the right hand underneath the district.
Not the bottom one.
Right through the right hand.
No man, the fluffy tree. A busy tree that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are traveling this side of it or
Yes,
this side?
this side.
Oh, this side?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
Don't.
And the yellow see mine up, you know.
You're the place.
And the yellow see mine up, you know, bro.
No man, you're the place.
I won't be.
Won't be. Super bridge.
And the yellow see mine up, man.
I will move on up. And jam my next post up there. No, we're not getting left like this.
No, sir. Wait till you go for one. No more time on.
Play land. Play land.
Paul!
Your final interview.
Is that question or should that be? Okay.
Just give us an insight on why
Okay. Well, one of the things that I've always looked at is look at where some of the renewable energy resources for the country is in different areas. And one of the things I realized with Portland is that it had the highest rainfall in Jamaica from what I saw on the maps. And no hydros. And I thought that it would be a good opportunity to see how much of this rainfall that is captured in the watersheds going into the rivers that we could actually harness for energy. So some time ago we came in here. It was about, I think, 2009. We came into the area, so we had looked at like the Bacria, Grande, Catalina, Stony River. We did this in collaboration with the Water Resource Authority, and at that time I was with the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica. So they are a key stakeholder also. So we actually ranked the sites, looking at the different rivers. There's quite a lot of rivers in Portland, as you might know. So we actually ranked the sites, and what we realized with this particular one is that it had road access to a point. The transmission distribution lines from the utility company was relatively close in comparison to the others. So we believe that based on those rankings, there was an ease of actually building this project in the short term. So we had some in the short term, medium term, long term. Again, this project is adjacent to a farming community, and we believe that it could improve the livelihoods of this community if the community is actually given the responsibility to actually help to develop the project, own and operate the project. And so this is part of what we are looking for when we look at deploying renewable energy. Instead of trying to harness the energy and try to transmit it at long distances, why don't we use it at its closest point where there's a community? And obviously, when you have that, industry can actually evolve around it. As you know, the renewable energy resource would have its limits because the water will flow for a particular period for so much time of the year with so much volume of water, so we only can harness so much. So in terms of growth of demand, the demand could actually exceed supply, so we'll have to still rely on the grid to sustain the operation. So it's all an integrative approach. Thanks.
Davis, pass.
Fulbright Nexus program it's a network of applied researchers who have been put together to use applied research to inform public policy. These researchers are from the Western Hemisphere, coming from countries like Canada, USA, Ecuador, Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and Jamaica. 20 of us, and one of the things that we are trying to do is to see how our work would actually inform policies for the future. This one in particular would have obviously look at the water policy, land policy, energy policy, and environmental policy, just to name a few. The researchers are multidisciplinary. You have persons in specialties in energy, climate change, economics, innovation in terms of things like telemedicine, public health, stuff like that. So what we're trying to do is actually been put together to solve problems of the Western Hemisphere and beyond the Western Hemisphere. So we intend to continue this work beyond the scholarship year, which is 1 year, ends in April, where we have a final meeting in Washington, D.C. to present our individual projects. But we intend to continue our work together to see how we can actually work together integratively to solve crisis that looms on the world today.
Today is Thursday, the 27th. When are you due back in Washington?
Well, I'm actually doing my work now in Colorado at the National Renewable Energy Laboratories in Colorado. I will be going there. I'll be going back on Monday, next Monday. And I will be there until the end of December to conduct my research work. And then after that, I'll be doing most of the write-up and consultation with my other stakeholders. And in April, the 23rd, we'll depart to go to Washington, D.C., where we'll actually have meetings with other stakeholders and to present our projects. Gary Jackson, Fulbright scholar from Jamaica, and also team member of CARELEC, which is the Caribbean Electric Utility Services Corporation. Thank you.